Well, look, when we look out at the world, Samir, we look for partners. We don't look for preachers. Particularly preachers who don't practice at home what they preach abroad. And I think some of Europe is still struggling with that problem. Some of it is changing. So, the issue for us, I mean, in many ways, Europe, I think, has entered a certain zone of reality check. Now, whether they are able to step up to it or not, it's something we will have to see. But from our point of view, if we are to develop a partnership, there has to be some understanding, there has to be some sensitivity, there has to be a mutuality of interest, and there has to be a realization of how the world works. And I think these are all work in progress to differing degrees with different parts of Europe. So some have moved further, some a little bit less. So at home, to get people to understand that we have now reached a size and a stage where almost anything consequential that happens in any corner of the world matters to us. And you know what, if we are setting up a research station there, or if we have a policy, or a few years ago we passed legislation on Antarctic, we created a Indian Antarctic Authority. These are not just scientific initiatives. I mean, they are obviously, but there is a larger importance to what is happening here, especially the Arctic. And in a interesting way, I think the controversies of the last few months, not just in India, I think it has brought out to the lay person the significance actually of the Arctic, and people write learnedly and talk learnedly about this today, which they wouldn't have done 6 months ago. So, in a paradoxical way, the shifting, the sharpness of the geopolitics and the geoeconomics actually has brought attention and created an awareness. Now, what should we be doing? Again, I put it to you that whatever we seek to do, or we hope will happen in respect of Arctic, will be a function of what is happening in the world. I mean, countries are not going to do one kind of diplomacy on every other issue and a different kind of diplomacy on Arctic. So what is today happening in the world? Because you can't divorce the future of the Arctic debates from the direction of the world. I think you are having in a interest, because President, you brought it up, I mean, a United States which has a dramatically different position. And it has a dramatically different position actually again for two very ostensibly contradictory reasons. On the one hand, there is a belief, at least in large circles, the ruling circles in the United States, that the developments of the world, the direction of the world order in the last 20-30 years has not gone in their favor, and that they no longer benefit by upholding a world order in which somebody else has gamed to their detriment. But there's the other side of it. The United States is also today much more self-sufficient than it has been for a long time. Self-sufficient in energy, self-sufficient, interestingly, the US today, there is, immigration is part of the debate, but the US is really looking at rebuilding using technology and a certain level of manufacturing as a game changer. So the combination of what they believe are better resources, greater creativity, their technology leads. So you have both a disenchantment with the past and a promise of the future, which say where the US says, the rest of you who used to be with me? Well, you know, I've now done a cost benefit and maybe you don't look so good now. So I am willing now to navigate a world much more on my own. Now, if you look at the number 2 economy of the world, they were pretty much doing that anyway, because that has been part of their history and their tradition and their politics. Now, when you come to Europe, I think Europe has a real predicament on its hands. A few years ago, say 5 years ago, Europe thought it had an optimal positioning, that, you know, between energy from Russia, the Chinese markets and American security, it looked all very neat. Each part of it today is under stress, to put it very politely. Now, on top of it, you know, Europe had a selective belief in the indivisibility of the world. When it liked the world to be connected, they believed in indivisibility. When it didn't, there was a fortress Europe. So what has happened is Europe is today under pressure to change, because the realities of multipolarity are dawning on it. I think it's still not adjusted and absorbed it fully. United States has dramatically changed position. The Chinese are doing what the Chinese were doing. Russia has, again, you know, Russia's connection with the Arctic, you know better than me. I mean, they have built it into their history, I would say almost their folklore, in a way. So we are going to see, in a sense, arena or a domain of contestation, which is not going to be easy to recall. Now, this is not unique. I mean, we are going to see it in space, we're going to see it underwater, we're going to see it in AI. So we are looking at a much more contested world, much sharper competition, where it will be a challenge for the world and for individual nations to find some kind of equilibrium and get people to work together. It's not going to be that easy or comfortable to arrive at.